On the same night that Clayton Kershaw announced he's retiring, Yoshinobu Yamamoto put up a vintage Kershaw performance as the Dodgers took down the Giants. Let's talk about it.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into MLB Game Night, where we cover every single game, every single night, as only the Locked On Podcast Network can do it. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That is Steve Linux, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Catch him on the X at Linux on Baseball. And Steve, ton of stuff to get to today. The Brewers came back and won yet again. Your Red Sox had a little bit of a rough day. And Max Fried just dominated in Camden Yards. Before we do all of that, though, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. That's enough of boring, flavorless caffeine. It is time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or grab them off Amazon today. So Clayton Kershaw announced his retirement before today's game. He makes a start tomorrow. I have a lot of thoughts here, but I want to throw it to our friends over from Locked On Dodgers to just kind of let them tell you real quick about who Clayton Kershaw was as one of the greats in baseball history.
Dodgers just announced that Clayton Kershaw will retire at the end of the 2025 season. His final start at Dodger Stadium will be this Friday against the San Francisco Giants, but let's hope that he's back on that mound in October. An all-time great, a franchise icon, most strikeouts in Dodgers history, second most wins in Dodger blue. Man, it has been an honor following his 18-year career. Now let's close it strong. Let's get him a third ring, and let's get him to play in October. Let's have him win a 162-game World Series championship ring with him on the mound. Not like last year where he was hurt. Let's have him actually pitch for the Dodgers in the postseason. Kershaw, my hat's off to you, man.
Well, the actual, the Dodgers team did their part today. They took down the Giants 2-1, and I teased it in the open, Steve, but Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 75 pitches to get to 4 innings, but finished with 1 hit allowed, although he did walk 6. So he had the Clayton Kershaw hit total, but a little more walks than Kershaw typically gave up in an outing.
Orel Hershiser said he's peaking at the right time. In his previous 3 outings, 30 strikeouts, 3 straight outings with 10 strikeouts in all 3 of those, and just 3 earned runs allowed. But, 5 1/3, kept him in it, gave up just the 1 base hit. And that 1 base hit that he allowed was the only hit of the night for the Giants, Lindsey. That was Patrick Bailey with a single off Yamamoto in the second. The bullpen bent. The bullpen didn't break. And the last 2 guys in the bullpen, Banda and Vesia, each worked a scoreless frame, each worked a perfect 1-2-3 inning, and they hold on for the 1-run victory on the day where Kershaw does announce he's retiring. And I'm looking forward to Friday on his with him on the mound for one final start in the regular season at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, the concept of turning something over to the Dodgers pen feels a little scary. And to your point, I mean, they made it dramatic there, but they get through this one. Poor Logan Webb. I like to highlight these guys. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 2 total runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and he takes the loss. Just terrible luck there, but the Giants offensively couldn't get it going, to your point. Patrick Bailey, shout out to catcher Patrick Bailey. Not a great offensive year for him. Amazing defender. Gets the only hit in this game for them. Over under the percentage of baseball fans closer to our age that tune into Clayton Kershaw's final start. Over under 35% of baseball fans in the country tune into this.
I think so. Yeah. Think back to the start he had at home against the White Sox where he reached 3,000 strikeouts. I think a lot of people our age, because you're seeing you're seeing an ace. You're seeing a guy who used to go, finish games, work deep into games, wanted the baseball. And I don't know how many of those we have in the future of guys who go a legit 7 innings. He's a Hall of Famer. I wondered, Justin Verlander, does he retire at the end of the season? Is it possible those? I mean, I would think they'd both be first ballot Hall of Famers. And would they go in? I mean, if Verlander decided to hang it up, you're looking at 2030 in Cooperstown with the lefty Kershaw and the righty Verlander.
Can you imagine if we had Verlander, Max Scherzer, and Kershaw all in the same class?
That could be. Yeah.
Hitters would hate that ceremony. Honestly, they would hate that ceremony.
Mark the end of an era of those legit ace pitchers.
Absolutely. Only the 4th lefty in history to have 3,000 strikeouts. Just a crazy stat there. Robbie Ray versus Clayton Kershaw tomorrow night. I just realized Apple TV. So not everybody may be able to watch it, but still going to be a lot of people tuning into that.
I wonder if they adjust that somehow.
If MLB Network picks it up, maybe. I can see them doing something like that simply because of what it is now.
Yeah.
All right, moving on a little bit. The Sacramento Athletics, or just the Athletics, I guess, in Fenway to take on your Boston Red Sox. Ags score 3 in the first, never trail, win this one 5-3. We've got Gabby from Locked On Red Sox. I want to let her give her thoughts as to what happened, and then I want to hear from postcast host Steve Lennox.
The Red Sox offense lacks creativity right now, and it's really costing them a playoff spot. I'm Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox, where we just watched yet another frustrating Red Sox loss this afternoon as they dropped a game and the series against the A's with a 5-3 loss. And the biggest issue, once again, is the offense. Brian Bayo didn't look super sharp on the mound, but the story of the last few weeks really has been the offense not being able to come through and find ways to score. 13 straight Red Sox recorded an out in this game. Every at-bat by these guys looks desperate. They look panicked. They look uncomfortable. All they're trying to do is hit home runs. They have lost touch of what worked for them, which is making hard contact and just trying to put the ball in play. That's not something they seem to do anymore. That needs to change starting tomorrow with this upcoming huge series in Tampa if they still want to make the playoffs. Will they? Find out more on Locked On Red Sox on any podcast platform.
Steve, will they? Will they make the playoffs? Because I mean, what is this?
They're not making it easy on themselves.
They've lost 4 of their last 5 series in Fenway. Like their own
when
ballpark.
They were world beaters prior to that. They're not making, they had everything in hand. And all of a sudden, and I think I posed it to you a few weeks ago, is there a team that could really go on an 11, win 11 out of 12, 12 out of 13. The Guardians are that team right now. The Mariners are that team as well, as they continue to climb. The Red Sox still have control of what, they can control. You win 2 out of 3 in Tampa, then you go to Toronto. You've got it lined up. But really right now, Gabby's right on a lot of points, a lot of soft contact. Alex Bregman's giving them nothing offensively. 1 home run, last 33, 34 games, very few RBIs. Jarren Duran's back in the leadoff spot. Yoshida makes the softest contact in baseball right now. I mean, just rolls over on everything. And I can go on and on and on here. But, Lindsay, I shelled out a lot of money for a new hot water heater on Thursday. I'm talking to the guy who's putting it in. He's like, oh, you got to go watch the game. I'm like, yeah. I come to the TV. 4 batters in, 16 pitches, and Brian Bayo's down 3-0. That can't happen at this point in the season, and it's happened for Bayo in back-to-back starts against the Yankees and the Athletics.
Yeah. I do want to point out 2 of those runs come from a Brent Rooker home run. That was his 30th. Now the 4th time in franchise history where the A's have had 3 guys at 30 or more homers in a season. Listen, Garrett Crochet, get right game tomorrow. Let's hope it works. Garrett Crochet versus Drew Rasmussen down in Tampa Bay in that smaller ballpark. We'll see how that goes. And then obviously when you're done with watching that game, go check out the Locked On Red Sox postcast. My second favorite postcast in the entire Locked On network. All right. Move on a little bit here. Padres at Mets. Mets win this one 6-1. They've taken the series from the Padres here in Citi Field. We've got Ryan Finkelstein of Locked On Mets. I want to let him tell you about what happened in this one.
A huge series victory for the New York Mets against the Padres and some real redemption for rookie starting pitcher Jonah Tong. This is Ryan Finkelstein, the host of Locked On Mets, and we just saw a really great game by the Mets to finish off their series against the Padres. Pete Alonso got the Mets on the board with a solo homer, his fourth straight game hitting a home run, picked up his 120th RBI this season. Jonah Tong gave up one run early on a sacrifice fly, but that is all. And the Mets had a huge inning where Brandon Nimmo's three-run homer really broke open the game, and Tong took it from there. 5 innings, struck out 8. So huge strikeout numbers for Tong, 8 of 15 outs, coming via the strikeout. 7 of those 8 strikeouts coming on the fastball. It was great to see him on attack mode. And all of a sudden, once again, his name gets entered in this conversation as a guy that could continue to make some big starts for the Mets down the stretch. I talked about on the live stream, breaking down Jonah Tong's performance and what it means for his role moving forward. Now we got to see what the Mets can do against the Nationals over the weekend as they look to hopefully start to build a cushion in this NL wildcard race.
Yeah, Brandon Sproat goes tomorrow. Talking about the young pieces here. I've got to ask: do you, Jonah Tong, Brandon Sproat, Nolan McLean, is this enough starting pitching in the postseason? Counting on 3 rookies to carry you.
It's asking an awful lot.
Yeah.
I don't know that Senga, they bring him back up, and then they can trust him. I mean, if they can get 5 innings out of those guys and then set up the bullpen the rest of the way, possibly. But I mean, if it gets too big for one of them, you have no doubt. You have no reason not to think that it's going to be too big of a moment for all 3. And again, just simply asking an awful lot of guys who were in the minors just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about workloads here. Like they've pitched a long season, and they're looking at possibly a full month if everything goes right in October. So we'll see what happens there. All right, in just a minute, I want to get you. You touched on the Guardians. I want to get to them because they're in Detroit taking on the Tigers, and Jose Ramirez continues to be the most underrated player in baseball. We'll talk about that next, right here on MLB Game Night. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the same caffeine as a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. Honestly, I love how fast it kicks in and that it's sugar-free. I don't have to worry about that late afternoon crash or whatever it might be. So enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com or at Amazon today. All right, Steve. So Guardians at Tigers in Detroit. This one was rather close. Guardians end up pulling out the victory. Here's our guy, frequent flyer of the show, Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians, all about the hero in this one.
Do you hear that sound? It's the sound of the Cleveland Guardians' footsteps, and they are getting louder. They are 3 games back in the loss column of the Detroit Tigers. And who do they play next week? Oh, the Detroit Tigers. Justin Latta here from Locked On Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians, doubt them at your own risk. I am suspect number 1. Declared them dead multiple times, only to pick up a defibrillator multiple times. They sweep the Tigers in Detroit. They don't beat Tarek Skubal, but they got enough traffic on the bases to knock him out. 9 base runners against Skubal. Ooh. Jose Ramirez gets a home run off the bullpen. John Kenzie well homers off Tarek Skubal. Where's he been all year? Tim Herron, where's he been all year? One of the best relievers they had in 2024. Pitches 3 days in a row after not being good all season. No big deal. He gets big at 3 outs. Colby Allard, minor league invite to spring training. Got cut a few weeks ago due to a roster crunch. No big deal. 3 clutch outs. Hunter Gaddis is closing because Kate Smith is out and Manuel Clase is long gone. Who cares? He gets it done. The Guardians are tracing down the Detroit Tigers in the AL Central after being 15 games back, and they're getting some help in the wild card. Boston's losing. They Got to go to Florida, Minnesota, and take care of business. But oh my God, is this getting fun? And so will the next Lockdown Guardians be there.
He has been on a roller coaster.
I am going to be there. Yes, he's been on a roller coaster for sure. Here's the thing for me on this is one, Tanner Bybee, 6 innings, 1 run. He's either dominant or it feels like he's awful and there's no middle ground, but he's been better more often than he's not been. The upcoming schedule is the big thing for me here, right? Guardians, you heard Justin mention it, 4 at Minnesota. They have a doubleheader on Saturday. Tough time to have a doubleheader, right? 3 versus the Tigers after that. The Tigers host the Braves this weekend, who have they just swept a 4-game series against Washington. And then they have to go to Cleveland to take on 3 and then play and I apologize in advance, what could be a desperate Red Sox team trying to not lose a playoff spot. It feels like Cleveland legitimately could chase down Detroit here simply because the path is easier and they get the head-to-head at home.
And the Tigers were the team chasing and having a great second half last year, and now they're stumbling down the stretch. Skubal, tip of the cap to him in the sense he's been able to make the start in the finale. Takes a no decision. Guardians win it. They complete the series sweep. But last week it was, oh boy, this is really going to be bad. Skubal's going to be down. That injury, a big sigh of relief for them. But they need to get on track because they've had a terrific season. But they, 3.5 games. That's the division. Forget the Guardians and the wild card. They're chasing down the division right now. And yes, these two teams, the schedule's made long in advance, but they're going to be within striking distance at the start of that series next week.
Yep. Unlike Dodgers Padres, who haven't played this month and won't play this month. It's going to be frustrating. All right. Cubs at Reds. First game of a 4-game series, so one of those longer ones there. Yeah. This one is incredibly close. Let's hear from Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds about, I guess, how good their starting pitching was tonight.
That is exactly why everyone has said that the Reds would be super interesting if they make the postseason. That was a beautiful performance by Hunter Green. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast, and Hunter Green with a shutout, complete game shutout of the Chicago Cubs. Reds win 1-0. Keep pace with the Mets, who beat the Padres earlier in the day. But that means that they're still just 2 games out of the wild card spot. And Hunter Green was phenomenal. And it wasn't like he struck out a billion guys. It was just he was efficient. He kept the Cubs hitters off balance. And it was constant, easy innings for him. I love the fact that Terry Francona gave him the complete game. He's more fresh than a pitcher typically would be at this point because he's been on the IL a bunch this year. But honestly, that was a beautiful performance, and every bit the reason why we say when he's healthy, Hunter Green is the ace of the Cincinnati Reds. And the starting pitching staff is the reason to believe. We'll see if they got a couple more wins in them, take this series from the Cubbies.
Yeah, this is the second career shutout for Hunter Green, but the first one that was a 9-inning thing. He got a 7-inning one back in 2022. Can I do the thing? Can I do the thing about the bad luck start?
We put it there. That's in the rundown.
Colin Reyes, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 11 strikeouts. And this man took a loss. He deserves better, Steve. Kills me. You heard Jeff mention it. This team is pesky. Is there a path to this team being a postseason team next year? I feel like Elliot De La Cruz has to get better, but there's a path here, right?
Yes, absolutely. Anything you hear about the Reds in this upcoming offseason, it's going to involve their pitching staff. And as he said, Hunter Green's going to be at the front of that. Be healthy in 2026. They can ride him, Lodolo, what they have in that staff, more coming as well.
Burns,
so Louder. With that, you're going to hear Hunter Green's name a lot this upcoming offseason when you're talking about the Reds for 2026.
It's all going to be down to the offense, I think. Matt McLain, he struggled after the shoulder surgery. He's got to be better. Ellie has to figure out why he went so cold in the back half. But they've got a lot of pieces for this. And some health would be nice too. Tomorrow, Shota Imanaga versus Nick Lodolo. That's going to be a fun one. Quick question. Why is there no day baseball tomorrow? It feels like the first game's at 6:40. Like it should be
For
a
Friday?
rule. For Friday, it should be a rule every single day. Somebody has to play during the day. That's a new rule. When I'm commissioner of Major League Baseball, that rule will be in effect.
All right. And I'm right there with you because I love when the Cubs are home on weekend series because usually it's day baseball at Wrigley on a Friday. There's nothing better.
I remember catching Scooble versus, I can't remember who it was, but catching Skeens in Chicago on a Friday afternoon. I'm like, this is great. I did this during work and then got into my games. All right, let's move on a little bit. Yankees at Orioles. Max Fried is ridiculous. We've got Brian McKeon, fellow Locked On MLB host, but Locked On MLB Game Night host. Let's listen to him talk about what Max Fried did tonight because it was absurd.
Yankees get a 7-0 victory in Max Fried's best start as a Yankee. I'm Brian McKeon from Locked On Yankees. What a way to start off a 4-game series in Baltimore to get a big win. Offense looked great, but Max Fried, not only his best start as a Yankee for sure, maybe the best start of his career. 13 strikeouts, absolutely unbelievable performance out of him as he's rounding into form heading into the postseason, and this team is rounding into form heading into the postseason, playing some of the hottest baseball in the entire league, potentially the best team in the last month. This is the time that you want to get hot, and dare I say it, the Yankees are doing that with an easy schedule they can take advantage of throughout the rest of the season. We'll be talking about all of it all week on Locked On Yankees. You can catch all your Yankee news there.
I'm going to go yell at Brian, in a tweet, in a text real quick, because players did have careers before they get to the Yankees. Let's just remember that. Max Fried pitched Game 6 of the World Series and got a win there. Let's remember these things. But to his point, 13 strikeouts, 7 scoreless innings, 3 singles, 1 walk. That's it. First 18-game winner in the majors. And we've talked about this a lot with your Crochets, with your Scoobles and things like that. It's like you got to win their start. The Yankees have won his starts. He's 21-10, or the team is 21-10 in his 31 starts. Feels like it's kind of a big deal. Yankees are now 6-2 in their last 8, and they are 19 games over 500.
Doing it at the right time. And as Brian said, you took 2 out of 3 at Fenway. In front of this series or 2 series ago last weekend, and you're peaking at the right time. And the offense is always going to be there for the most part. They're going to be feast or famine on occasion, but you get Fried, Rodon, Schlittler, those 3 in a quick 3-game series, they can turn the lights out on you.
It can be tough for an opposing team there. Yeah. All right. Mariners at Royals. They wrapped up their series here. Mariners won this one 2-0. They won 2 out of 3 games here. You mentioned them being hot earlier. They've won 11 out of 12 games. They get the good version of Luis Castillo tonight. 6 innings, 3 hits, all singles. Kind of the theme tonight for some of these pitchers. No walks, 3 strikeouts. And because they're the Mariners, they just had 3 relievers come out who were incredibly filthy out of the pen. They each and they combined for the shutout here. Cal Raleigh is human. 1 for 4, single, 2 strikeouts. But this is something now. Mariners, Astros are tied for first in the AL West. And Seattle has, I'm not going to call it an easy path. They play Houston for 3 in Houston. I love when we decide this in person. And then they get the Rockies for 3 and the Dodgers for 3. Are they hoping the Dodgers have clinched at that point so that they can get some hangover lineups and maybe run away with the West?
Yeah, I would think that. And Orel Hershiser was talking about that on the Dodgers broadcast against the Giants Thursday night in the opener at Dodger Stadium. If you're the Dodgers, you want to settle things before that final series of the regular season next weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers can do there. Their bats have to wake up a little bit more. They have to, they have to put some more runs up. They're putting pressure on their staff right now. 2 runs, they make it stand up on Thursday.
Yeah. Great pitching matchups on this, by the way. Brian Wu versus Hunter Brown. That's a fun one. George Kirby versus Framber Valdez. Logan Gilbert versus Jason Alexander. Can't always win them all, but 2 really good pitching matchups and a 3rd intriguing pitching matchup. All right. In just a second, I want to talk about Marlins Rockies, believe it or not, because the Marlins kind of have been a juggernaut recently. We'll talk about that next right here on MLB Game Night. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're personally worth. Maybe they're not counting properties, investments, 401k, whatever it might be. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why Monarch Money exists. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone, because Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you because it does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. All right, Steve. So Marlins complete the sweep of the Rockies 9-7 in Game 3 of the series. Here's our guy Jeremiah Geiger from Locked On Marlins about how well Sandy Alcantara pitched.
The Miami Marlins are playing very good baseball right now. It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. In Thursday's game, they win by a score of 9-7 against the Rockies. They sweep them, avenging their series sweep that happened to them all the way back in June. They took care of business this time around. Sandy Alcantara, 6 2/3 innings, 3 runs, struck out 8. Liam Hicks had a 4 RBI day. The Marlins rattled off 9 runs. This team's playing good ball. And when it's at this point in the season, you have young guys playing, you like to see the fundamentals, you like to see the offense score, and then the bullpen do their job. When they need to, do the job, get the win. That's what matters, getting wins. Let's play spoiler this weekend against the Rangers. Go Fish.
Go Fish indeed. All right, this is not of the rundown. I'm going to surprise you real quick with this. I'm going to give you 2 stat lines, and you have to tell me who wins the award. Stat line number 1 is 10-12, 5.48 ERA, right? 139 strikeouts, 167 innings. That's Sandy this season. The other stat line, 284 average, 903 OPS, 17 home runs in 86 games. That's Ronald Acuna Jr. Who is your NL comeback player of the year? It's not easy, is it?
Jeez, no.
Sandy's been really good recently. Ronald was really hot when he came back. It's not an easy call here.
No. I don't.
Yeah, see, I should have prepped
What was the ERA? What was the ERA?
Sandy's ERA is a 5.48 right now.
Yeah, I go Ronald Acuna Jr.
It's if Sandy had that at like a 4 and change, yeah. I think he runs away with it. But it's just a little too high right now. And
it's tough on a pitcher because there have been some starts where you're like, okay, it's a big matchup, and he's throwing a clunker in there.
Yeah.
Where you might see Acuna go 0 for 4, but the real outside of you guys Locked On Braves postcast and with Jake, you may not see that. You may go 1 for 10 in a series, but Alcantara gives it up in a game. I'd go Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, it's not easy. Rockies did hit 4 home runs in this game, though. I just want to kind of throw that out there. Blaine Crim had 2 solo shots, but Rockies have lost 5 in a row. All right, Angels at Brewers. I'm not even going to give you an intro to this. I'm just going to say Chuck Freeman has words both about this game and about the Chicago Cubs in his short.
You didn't really think the Brewers were going to lose that game, right? When they got down 2-1 in the 7th inning, please. What do you think they are? Team lifeless? That team in Chicago who can't rally from a 1-0 deficit ever? Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, instant reaction, Locked On Brewers. Yeah, the Brewers are down 2-1, and then the floodgates open. And your typical woodpecker win, nickel and diming their way to the victory. And I don't want to hear this, that the Brewers, well, can they do this in the postseason? This kind of brand of ball doesn't work in the postseason. Man, they're upwards towards 100 wins so far doing this. Is the game all of a sudden changed in the postseason? No.
Yes.
They did it in the regular season, they can do it in the postseason. Quinn Priester, he did it in the regular season again tonight. Now, he didn't get credited with the win, but he still struck out 10 pitching into the 6th inning. Gave his team a chance to hang in there and win this game, and they sweep the Angels. Greatness for the Milwaukee Brewers. They move on to St. Louis Friday night. Talk to you a little bit later on the next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
So, yeah, the game is a little different in the postseason. It is. It's
is.
managed a little differently. But here's a fun thing I want to ask you about this with Quinn Priester. Okay. Guess the last time that Milwaukee lost a game that he started, and I'll take the month.
Yeah, so we did touch on this last time out.
That's
it's
right.
been a long time.
That's right.
So
May 19th.
Okay, I was going to say early May, so that's later May, but that's still a long time ago.
Yeah.
Good for him again. You added at the beginning of the year from the Red Sox. You just don't ever have pitching depth. And new surroundings, traded twice in 2 years. But I'm just thinking about Chuck if they're ousted in the division round.
Oh my gosh. He's going to catch so much flack if it happens too, especially if the Cubs move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, to his point, that's their 37th comeback win. At a certain point, you have to assume that this is some sort of skill they inherently have. And this is going to be the ultimate test for me. We've talked about this before. They don't have the prototypical power of a World Series champion. So what happens in October when they need those homers? That's the big thing that I'm watching for in October.
Yes, and speaking of home runs, I think, and they'll deny it, as long they'll deny it all day. But I do think that they very much have that Met series and how it ended last year with Pete Alonso's big home run and how their season ended against the Mets. I think they certainly have that in the back of their mind. They don't want to have that feeling again.
It's fuel. All right, final game of the night: Blue Jays at Rays. Rays win this one 4-0. They split the series, which is great comeback for them. They lost the first 2 games, came back to do this. They went from winning 7 in a row though. They're now 4-9, in the last 13. But Shane Baz, 5 innings, 2 hits, only 2 singles. That's a theme tonight. Like we said, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. His 6th scoreless outing. I'm really happy for Carson Williams. One of the best defensive shortstops I've seen play in person since Andrelton Simmons. Has really struggled at the major league level. He had 2 hits. He had a solo homer. Makes us feel really good. But hey, Blue Jays only need three wins to clinch a postseason spot. They could theoretically do it this weekend.
They could. I'm excited. I'm excited for the Marlins next year. I think they can. They should go into the offseason saying, "Hey, we should compete in this division, or at least for a wild card next year as they continue to grow." But the Rays are going to be back at the Trop next year. And they do have talent. They have a lot of young talent. As you said, just 4 wins in their last 13. But next year, again, this is a team. New ownership's coming in. They got a lot of things in play. They may have a new stadium in place. I'm sort of excited about the Rays for next year. There's a handful of teams that I'm on board with for next year. The Athletics right now might be the top one since they just took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox.
Junior Caminero popping 40 homers is not a bad way to generate excitement for next year. All right, that'll do it for MLB Game Night here on Thursday, September 18th. Do us a favor, listening on audio, leave a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because we're going to do the same thing tomorrow night, because MLB Game Night is every game, every night. For Steve Lennox, I'm Lindsey Crosby, and this has been MLB Game Night.